Hello everyone, sorry that this video is late, but yesterday was my birthday. Today we will talk about time to live. In the last videos we talked about daily login. We got a reward for logging in daily, but the client also needs some information to show some flashy animations when a daily login happens. And we have a lot of events like that where the client needs to update anything. For example, inventory has changed and the client should get the new inventory update, or quest marker has changed or something like that. Daily login is one of those events where we want to show in Unity some kind of animation. A little spoiler, the animation we will do in the next video. In the next video we will do Unity client getting the inventory, which in our current case is just how much gold the player has, and also showing a flashy daily login animation when the daily login event happens on server side. We developed server side daily login already. The player gets 100 gold currently when he does a daily login, but the client is not informed about the daily login happening. And what we developed is a service which I call player event, which just holds all events the player can consume. And we have another service, player event processor. Let me increase the text size. And the player event processor currently just listens to the inventory event changes, but the inventory event, if we go to the read model handler, we create a read model out of the inventory events, and we just check if an inventory change has happened for daily login. And if that's the case, then we create a player event and we save that. So now the player event service on the other side has a little timer. When the player connects and sends us a valid JVT token, we create a timer which is 1 second, currently configured as default. So every second it checks the database if new events are available, and if that's the case, it will send them to the client and delete them afterwards. That is currently working. I can start our whole bunch of backend services that we have for now, and we have our test client here, and this is all the services that we need. And let's log in as test2. Then we have to log in and we have to create a character. Let's call that test2 also. And I've hacked into the client that after it connects to the chat server, it also connects to player event and it's get the event daily login. And normally when we show in Unity, we will see a flashy daily login animation now. And we could redo that and we don't see daily login again. But what happens when the player logs in but doesn't consume the event? Let's say his network crashes and he doesn't play that day anymore, and the event will stay in the database forever. And to solve this issue, CosmosDB has a little feature which is called time to live. What we can do when we create the container for CosmosDB, it's in the CosmosDB client, we can, instead of giving inline the ID and the partition key path, we can create an object which is container properties. Then we have a little bit more control about the settings of the container, and we can give it the ID and partition key path that we do for all containers for now, but we can also give it a default time to live. And this currently is set for me to 1 hour. This is seconds. So 60 seconds is a minute and 60 minutes is an hour. So that's how you calculate that. So if the event isn't consumed, CosmosDB will automatically delete it after 1 hour, which is awesome, exactly what we need. But let's say, or let me explain why this is default. Let's say you have an item which you really want the player to consume an event, and you want to have it live longer than 1 hour. What you could do, you can define in your event, even though if you don't override it, I recommend you define it. You can say time to live. It's a nullable int because it actually can be null, and its property name TTL, that's predefined by CosmosDB. And what you can do is you can do null value handling, ignore. That means if that is null, then this entry is not in your JSON, which is great because you have the feature now to set the time to live per item. But if you don't set it, it doesn't increase the JSON overhead in CosmosDB and in your serialization and deserialization. But to be able to do this time to live TTL field, you have to enable time to live for the container in CosmosDB. And the only way to do that is to set a default time to live. So this default time to live has actually 3 states. It can be null, and if it's null, then time to live is deactivated. Even if a document has a TTL field, it is ignored. So if on container creation default time to live is null, there is no time to live for this container. Even though a document has it, it is ignored. Another state that you can give it is -1, which basically correlates to infinity. And you can set time in seconds greater than 0. So 1 second to int max value should be possible. And only if this is not null, the time to live feature works for this container. If you want to give a different time to live, you can add the TTL field to your document, but only if default time to live is not null. You actually, in the emulator, if you go to the emulator and you go to your collection, which in our case is the player event collection, you can go to scale and settings, and then you can see time to live, and we have 3600 seconds, which correlates to 1 hour, and it works. We can also test that real quick. I don't want to wait 1 hour, so I'll show you a little dirty hack. So I tested if this works. There are actually multiple ways to do it. We could lower the time to live here in the UI, the default one, because we don't overwrite it per document. But we could also overwrite it in our document that we want to have it for, let's say, 30 seconds. For you it will be faster because I will cut it out, but this gives me enough time to wiggle things around so that you can see that something is happening. So we can start it now, and we have to do a new daily login. So let me pick the chat client. Test 3, I guess, is quite new, not logged in today. And we don't create a character because after a character is created, if the event is consumed. Refresh that. The event is here now, and we have TTL 30 seconds. I will wait 30 seconds. So let's refresh and the document should be gone by itself, and the player didn't consume it, because only if the character client is connected, after that the player event client. So when the chat client connects, only after that the player event client is connected. And when I enter a character name now and we get into the chat, oh, it's already registered, just 3. We enter the chat, then we don't get an event because we were too slow to get the document. It's already deleted. But you have to keep in mind we have set it to 1 hour, so it's good. So you have 1 hour time after the login to connect to. That's everything I have today. It's about the little feature Time to Live, which saves us a lot of pain removing events from our CosmosDB event store if that is needed, if the client doesn't consume it and we don't want the container to get unreasonably big just because players aren't consuming their events. I want to thank my Patreon, Julian, for supporting this project. I wish you all a great weekend. Bye.